11:11. I definitely am starting this today at 11:11. I'm starting it at 11:11, so it won't be online at 11:11. Anyway, I am not promoting this company, but today's incense will be dragon's blood. And dragon's blood is a protective incense. It also brings potency to certain spells. So spells can also be what you speak. So the positive things I speak, I'm affirming now, I'm talking into existence. They will come true. I will manifest the positive things I say. Some of the negative things will bring awareness. So hopefully I will manifest awareness in you all listening today through the dragon's blood incense. All right, welcome to Addicted to Astrology. This is episode 8. 8 is the number of life. So I hope that today's episode gives you life, because the universe knows that life is definitely a challenge right now. And I think if you listen and you get aligned and get in tune with what I'm saying and presenting today, you will understand how challenging life is, but how you can navigate through it via awareness. All right. So, all right. Today we're going to talk about, we're moving out of the last few days of Gemini into Cancer. Gemini is a duality sign, so it has both masculine and feminine energy. And Cancer is strictly, solely feminine energy. Therefore, the new moon coming in Cancer, meaning the new sign, the sun is moving into the new sign along with the moon, will create a solar eclipse. New moons also signify new starts, new fresh energy, and it's releasing and letting going of the old energy. So here again, if you've listened to my previous episodes, the North Node is in Gemini now at 29 degrees, which is the final degree of any sign. 30 technically is 0, the beginning of the next sign. So the sun and the moon on June 21st, on this coming next Sunday, right? Because today is the 14th. Next Sunday will be the 21st. We will have a solar eclipse. I'm not sure what time it is. I'll get back to you on the midweek check-in for the time. But it will be at 0 degrees, which is like having a clean slate. It'll be in Cancer, which is a nurturing, caring, female, protective of you or of others zodiac sign. It represents the crab, and if you think of the crab, they have hard shells. They walk sideways to kind of, watch what's front, back. Not what's back, what's front and side. That is how they move. That is how they protect themselves. Cancer, again, is a feminine sign, so it's the mother sign. It is represents the moon, which is definitely the emotions. It definitely goes through, the mood changes. The moon goes through each sign every 2.5 days. So right now the moon is in Aries. By next Sunday, it will be in Cancer. We have Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer. It'll change 4 times in 1 week. That is a lot of different emotions. It will go from air sign to earth sign to fire sign, and then to water sign. We're going to speak on water signs and earth signs compared to fire signs and air signs today, and the difference and how they are compatible, going along with what is going on in the universe. Okay. Cancer relates to Mother Nature's energy. So going along with what has been happening, Mother Nature is actually healing right now from the energies of the other planets that are giving in the earth, on the earth, as far as Saturn giving us these hard life lessons, Pluto giving us this transformation, Venus trying to teach us how to love differently, Neptune bringing these illusions in. But however, while all this is happening, Mother Nature, the moon, is actually healing through its different energies, right? And then it's coming into the energy of Cancer where it's at home. And it is showing us now how to heal. If you notice, there's so much greenery outside. There's so many green leaves and green plants. I know it's spring and summer coming in, but it's just, it seems greater to the eye. You hear more birds out. You see more animals out. I haven't seen so many deer out in a long time. I know that it's definitely because there's not a lot of people out and the animals are freer to be who they are in their home, which is outside. Right? So, this energy, this motherly nature type of energy, helps us come into a new way of behaving with nature. It's brought us to a realization period that it's time to change internally and externally, along with all the retrogrades that are going on, tied into this new eclipse, into this new era that we're entering in on the 21st. Tied in with all the retrogrades like Pluto, Jupiter, Saturn. Mercury starts this week. Like I said, we'll talk about that in a minute too. And Venus ends next week, but so does Neptune, starts the day before Venus ends. So all these retrogrades and messages telling us to slow down, retreat, rethink, reassess. And it shows us in Cancer how we need to pay attention to that we're treating ourselves and others. It shows us how we treat our fellow animals, fellow humans, and the planet Earth itself. Do we treat it the way we'd want to be treated? Is the Cancer energy coming in? Cancer energy, motherly energy, is a new way coming into the new moon and the solar eclipse. So it's a new way to heal, find various ways to heal. Holistic medication I always tend to go to now instead of over-the-counter medications or prescriptions. Meditation instead of therapy, since therapists are not really available right now during the lockdown still. It's not easy to get therapy appointments on Zoom or to get in tune with each other to service each other. But it's possible. But if you don't have that opportunity, meditation is a good way to align yourself and heal. Now, Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde makes you want to text your ex. It makes you want to pull up old wounds. It makes you want to bring up the past. It makes you want to bring up old trauma and argue about it and debate about it. Mercury and Venus, but specifically Mercury right now, they move faster than the other planets. They're closer to the sun. So the reason retrogrades happen is Mercury is moving so much faster than the other planets that it appears in the sky to look like it's moving slowly when it's in retrograde. Direct means it's going forward. Retro means it's going backwards, or appearing that it's going backwards. So while, like in a race, when you're racing next to somebody and they're clearly getting faster, but they're slowing down, so it looks like they're going backwards, but it's you finally catching up. For example, the sun being still in Gemini, but Mercury that's close to the sun has already passed it. It's already in Cancer. When it retrogrades, the sun will finally catch up with it because it's slowing down, for instance. All right, so, I try to explain all this because I give a lot of information at one time. So please let me know if you have any questions on anything I said. All right, So just speaking on how energies affect energies really quick. The longitude and latitude on Earth is the electromagnetic fields and gravitational energy in orbiting energy fields, the orbiting fields of the planet Earth, and your consciousness that receive downloads of energy through light like the sun, right? That is why I like to go outside and sit in the sun if I'm not going to be walking anywhere while we're on this lockdown, or I like to sit by windows and I like to sit in the sunlight and the sun rays. It gives me energy, and it is all connected. Sorry, you all know I'm still looking at my notes. So all these energies are connected by something called bioenergetics. This is all real science. That's why astrology, I'm going to get into why astrology was actually made to feel like it's supposed to be entertainment or not real. We are connected through our chakras, our nervous system, genetics, and other celestial bodies to the energies above. So below. We also affect the cosmic energies from our energies below that we put out. So when you are, for example, arguing via your nervous and emotional systems, Mercury, which again is the communication planet, it's an intelligent planet. Whatever you're going through down here on Earth, whatever Mercury retrograde puts you through, that energy in reverse brings back old feelings. It's like Mercury in the race that I was talking about. For example, Mercury gets our energy when it passes us. And when it comes back around and slows down, it's passing the energy right back, like the baton is passed in a race. So it's like when they pass us, hey, Mercury, here's our energy, take that and run with it. Mercury comes back and says, okay, here is it back. Have you learned anything from while I was gone? Let me slow you down and remind you while I'm slowing down. Let me give that energy back to you, right? So watch what you do, basically, all in all. History on astrology really quick. The Bible is based off of astrology. The ages of astrology, we are now in the age of Pisces, which is the end. It started when supposedly Jesus in the story in the Bibles was born. So Jesus was born technically, 2020 years ago at the beginning of the age of Pisces, which is the end because the ages go backwards. We're in the dawning of the age of Aquarius, which is another episode I did a while ago, or I incorporated with it, which is we're leaving this Pisces energy. We're leaving this delusional possible lies. The Bible is not all the way the truth, which is part of the Pisces energy. You can run with that. You can take that to the bank. You can check the facts. All right. The ages did start again in Pisces. However, I'm assuming, and I'm still learning about this, that it was in Aries at the beginning because Aries is the first sign. You have to first start with fire, this whole sun situation, the sun being the first thing that God created before he created man and his son, Jesus, in the story of the Bible. So the sun is first important. The sun in the sky is first of importance to create all things below. In the story in the Bible, the son, Jesus, of God, is basically the most important thing in the Bible. The Bible is a book that is based, again, off of astrology. In my studies, and I listen to Young Pharaoh, and he even does astrology as well. Young Pharaoh on Instagram, check him out. He just did something with another guy, and I forgot his name, Seti. He just did like an episode, I want to say a week and a half ago, about certain words that we've learned from the European aspect, like book, that means something that's controlled. So Bible is definitely a book that was used for control in slavery, if you know your history. So again, let me go through this really quickly. Astrology is a scientific understanding of how you are genetically like an atomic bomb, atomically and biologically interact with the solar system and the stars. It wasn't until the Western world created a mystical god that astrology became fictional or not real to certain people in the world, or it became demonized in the Bible. Holy in Greek means Helios, which is the sun. Jesus is the sun in the Bible. Biblios means Bible in Greek, which means book. So technically the Bible is the sun book. It's the same thing with the Quran. And the 12 disciples in the book are the zodiac. So that's just a brief history on that. I just want to give awareness, because if you're aware of what is above, you will be more aware of what is below or in front of you, per se. So this is why I'm trying to really take this time to talk about Mercury, because Mercury can create the planet of communication and messages and intelligence and thinking, can create a significant impact, especially when it's in retrograde. It's something that we have to pay attention to extremely. And because it is a fast-moving planet, it comes around every season almost. At least every season, or 3 seasons out of a year. So it happens for 3 weeks, 3 to 4 times a year. Transits really quick. Remember, transits are how it affects other planets that are also moving and doing things in the universe. So Mercury will go past the sun several times because it is moving faster than the sun. The sun is currently still in Gemini while Mercury is in Cancer, and it will fall back and slow down once the sun moves into Cancer as well. Mercury will not impact all the planets that are in retrograde, which is exciting because they are already impacting us enough. So that Mercury will not impact Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn, or Neptune, or Venus, and all those planets are in retrograde, except Neptune doesn't start until next week, and Venus ends next week. It's retrograde. But it will sextile Uranus, and if you remember when I talk about transits, sextile is a good transit. Sextile means that you will have like a good coming together, and possibly it will have to deal with new discoveries, meeting new people, new way to tackle old problems, new ways of learning, especially about astrology. And it could be a good way to bring out new music, new art, if you were an artist or a performer. However, the bad transit that Mercury will make is a square to Mars, and squares can be bring difficult times. It can bring irritability. This will be a 3-week square that will happen from July the 7th to the 28th. So Mercury will still be in retrograde until the middle of that, until the 12th or 13th, and then it'll be in the shadow period after the 13th until the 28th, pretty much. So Mercury's taking over the rest of our next 4 to 6 weeks. Let's say next 3 to 5 weeks. 3 to 5 weeks. All right. This will bring challenge in others with Mercury squaring Mars. This will, you may find yourself in defense a lot, which I am definitely finding myself in the shadow period of Mercury retrograde right now, even though it's not squaring Mars yet. Mercury definitely brings a lot of defense and miscommunication between you and others, especially with 2 planets in the water sign, Mercury and Mars. Mercury being in Cancer and Mars being in Pisces. This can also bring accident-prone situations, Mercury can bring accidents. Mercury retrograde can bring accidents as well. So that's another reason why you say for it to slow down. And if you don't feel that you need to slow down, it will slow you down itself. Overall, don't look for battles or don't create any battles, and avoid rushing when you're traveling, especially with driving or like flight plans. Give yourself extra time and avoid hot and sharp objects, not to scare you. Just be careful during Mercury retrograde and you will be just fine. All right, so Mercury, the planet of communication, messages, and thoughts. And expect me to be making, I think I'm doing very well, but I still have like 7 pages of notes to go. So expect me to be making some mistakes that I might have to come back and correct myself on Wednesday. I'm going to expect the unexpected. That's part of the eclipse season too, the expect the unexpected. And Mercury can also make you stumble over your words, which I notice I definitely do already, but I'm working hard on fixing that. And it's a shadow period still, so just expect me to be a little bit jittery. All right, so Mercury combined with Cancer energy, which can be the mood change, the moon sign, can also bring a significance of great intuition. For example, imagine these riots that are happening right now, and you are a store owner of a store that has been burnt down or looted. After the riots finally end, and they will end, and they are slowing down, no matter how hard it was on you or how bad it seems, you will get to rebuild your store more beautiful than ever. There's no need to worry. Remember, I said that retrogrades and eclipses tend to make you feel like you're losing, but you're really gaining. Mercury retrograde is even more chaotic, which is, I also said this last Sunday, to expect it to get worse before it gets better. We still have 6 months of retrogrades. Most of these retrogrades don't end until the fall or the end of the year. So we still have a lot to go through. But this energy is just showing us how to be aware of it and to work with it. And Cancer energy can be unstable like the moon. It can be ever-changing and emotional like the moon creates energies on Earth. And those energies and emotions are definitely heavy. So an advice for that is that you flip Mercury into Venus. Venus being the planet of love, and those two being close together. I see the sun is giving me this beautiful ray of light, but then I don't want to flush myself out. Hold on, y'all. Stop the video here. Okay, that's a little better. All right, so where was I? So flip Mercury into Venus, being like its sister planet or its sibling planet. It's right next to each other. Those two planets are closest to the sun, then it's Earth, then it's Mars. And you flip Cancer into Capricorn, which is its opposition sign. So Cancers get really emotional and moody, whereas Capricorns are more serious and stable. Water is more flowing, where Earth is more grounded. This is when I'm getting into the elements of the signs. This is intuition versus your thoughts as well. How to trust your intuition with the water sign and stabilize your thoughts with the earth sign. It is very hard for people to know the truth right now, but your intuition flowing will be more beneficial at this time if you take awareness to the energies. Nothing good comes from overthinking. What you're thinking right now is probably wrong. What you're arguing and debating about right now is probably very stupid. I know that I should feel worse than I look right now. But actually, I felt better after doing my studies this morning and preparing for this episode, because everything I was arguing about last night not only wasted my energy and time, but it was all wrong. Both sides are wrong. I probably had wrong points They definitely had wrong points. We corrected each other a lot. Nobody won, and nobody got each other's points. So we have to change our focus at this time, especially leading into the solar eclipse in Cancer, especially it being on the day the sun moves from Gemini into Cancer, on the same day the moon moves from Gemini into Cancer, and they both being at 0 degrees, which is that clean slate, which is that first degree of the new era, the new moon, the new sun, the new sign, the new energy. In the past lunar eclipse 2 weeks ago in Sagittarius, the moon was an opposite in Gemini of the North Node. The moon was in Sagittarius and the North Node was in Gemini. So that was easier energy, especially Sagittarius being a more laid back, free spirit, wisdom speaking philosophy, higher level thinking type of sign for the moon to be going through. It wasn't so emotional, right? So all the planets being in retrograde are also giving us like a parallel energy to the eclipse energy, and they're all teaching us something. Venus is teaching us how to use our intuition, and they're all teaching us stuff involving our intuition, what we need to self-evaluate, and I use self-evaluation a lot too. What do we need to redo with all the planets in retrograde? Rethink. So what do we need to rethink? What is our intuition telling us about the planet Venus being in retrograde with our love and how we are handling love in relationships? What is Saturn telling our intuition to rethink and redo with life lessons and our beliefs and who's in authority of us or governing us, which is why we have so much stuff going on. Goodness, I love the sun, but sun, give me a break. Okay, there we go. Which we need to rethink of who's telling us what in these government positions. That goes into Neptune. What is Neptune in retrograde telling us? We're in the shadow period of that. What in front of us might be not real, or on the flip side of Neptune, the positive side, what in front of us, is bringing us into more depth and in tune with ourselves and our spirituality, because Neptune rules Pisces, which is the spirituality sign. Pluto, what is that retrograde telling us? How are we transforming? How are we making changes? What is our intuition telling us that we need to do with ourselves? And relating ourselves to others, and how we need to transform and relate ourselves to each other, because Pluto rules Scorpio, which is also a transformational sign, which also rules the 8th house, which is how we change and to relate ourselves to others. Jupiter is another planet in retrograde. How do we need, where in our intuition is telling us that we need to rethink our finances, or how much we are expanding our mind and our thoughts. And then Mercury being in retrograde, what is that telling us as far as how we think and communicate? Is our intuition telling us that we need to rethink everything that we've learned and how we communicate with people and be more nurturing, because it is in Cancer. So when the entire collective, the entire world is going through all these energies, my gut intuition as an astrologer may seem weird to others. Okay, the moon and the North Node energy and the solar eclipse energy brings a lot of chaotic, weird energies that are not easy to explain. Here goes this Mercury trying to communicate. It's not easy to explain this to people because nothing makes sense. Points will not be proven. No one will listen to you, and you will listen to no one. I swear it's like I'm talking to myself because I went through this just a few hours ago, even before I started, even when I woke up this morning. But in speaking about all these energies, there's a lot of feminine energy right now. Water and earth signs are usually feminine energy. Fire and air signs are usually masculine energy. So 3 planets are in Capricorn. Now, Saturn is technically in Aquarius at 0 degrees, which is in retrograde, so it is moving back into Capricorn. And really quick, a reminder about that. Saturn likes to be in Aquarius because it's free to do, to show that it has learned what it needs to learn. When it was in Capricorn in its home, Capricorn is at home in Saturn. But when it's Aquarius, it gets to be free in testing out what it's learned. But it's going back into Capricorn. I'm not sure the date, but if it's at 0 Aquarius and retrograde doesn't end until I feel like November or something, it'll be back in Capricorn in the next week or two. And Saturn in Capricorn brings back those lessons. So there's something coming up that we haven't learned that we have to relearn once Saturn goes back into Capricorn. So Capricorn being a feminine, that's like the father sign. Saturn is the father planet as well, but it can also come from a feminine authoritative side. But Pluto and Jupiter in Capricorn, so those are also feminine energies in those planets. The sun and the moon will be in Cancer. Cancer is a water sign. Cancer is a mother sign. Feminine energy on this Friday coming, on this Sunday, next Sunday coming. Neptune and Mercury are both in Pisces in water signs. Neptune is in Pisces, Mercury is in Cancer. Those are 2 water signs. That is still more feminine energy. The only fire sign, Uranus is also in Taurus, which is feminine energy as well. The only fire sign that there's a planet in, and it's not really a planet, is Chiron, the asteroid, the healing asteroid. And Chiron is in Aries, which is a masculine energy, the strongest energy, but he is healing. He is healing from all his wounds. Feminine energy works itself out, which is a positive trait. It actually works itself out better than men's. Masculine energy. Gemini is both masculine and feminine energy, which has a lot to do with the North Node being in duality right now. It's giving new meaning to all the moon cycles, being in both feminine and masculine energy. This also gives the desire or need to fight and debate masculine energy. So yes, this is me talking to myself again. I have been in battles with, I want to say, 10 men online in the last few hours. And I know when I go back on Facebook and place this video on there, I'm going to be having more messages from men. And I feel like I have to fight them all day. I do have a lot of, I think my chart is actually very even with masculine and feminine energy. It's not more one than the other. So, and that I do have a little bit of Gemini and a little bit of the third house. A lot of the third house, actually. I have a third house stellium on my chart. So I have a lot of duality on my birth chart. Again, let me plug this really quick. Birth charts are still $20. Thank you to those who purchased last week. Thank you to those who are purchasing this week. Thank you to the inquiry I got today, actually. And I'm going to do a birth chart this week coming up in exchange for a foot massage. So if you have any services that you want to exchange for a birth chart, please let's talk. Get in my inbox. Hit me up on Facebook or Instagram. Zakia Alex Hate on Facebook. Z_hustle on Instagram. TEA space EM space ZEE on YouTube. Okay, but as I was saying, this also gives a desire to need to fight and debate masculine energy. So like fighting fire with fire. But it works itself out because water and earth kind of calm down the fire, right? Fighting fire with fire creates war. And when you're heated up, the only thing that could calm you down is sitting down and chilling out, which is being grounded, which is the earth energy, and cooling off with a glass of water, which is the water energy, or cooling off with the sweat coming out of your pores from being so hot energy. That is how I explain water and earth being the feminine energy, cooling off the much needing to heal masculine energy. Mars and Neptune are both in Pisces now, and the Mars energy is really strong when the solar eclipses come, like I talk about the Mars and Mercury squaring. So that is a good example of how the female energy is going to challenge but cool off the masculine energy when they square, when they have that transit. They're closest to the sun and will make you want to fight or debate, like I said, even if you are extremely tired and want to sit down and shut up. You can't win with fire, though. Fortunately, you can win with water. And there's a lot of water energy, like I said, especially us moving into the water sign of Cancer. I've even learned in my studies from masculine and feminine astrologers, the masculine energy motivates and pushes me, and the feminine energy moves me on and humbles me emotionally so that I don't get so riled up in that masculine energy. Like I said, on my birth chart, I definitely have a good balance of both energies. I wonder why, if that's, now that I'm talking about it, I wonder why my North Node being in Libra helps balance out those energies, those masculine and feminine energies. Or I'm learning how to, because North Node is what you're coming into, it's your destiny. Coming back. Once masculine energy gets so heated and fired up, it goes to emotionally supported energies. For example, women. It goes to that feminine energy to cool off. So, for example, in domestic violence, a man may yell, and then finally hit his woman, and then realize after she starts crying and, feeling lost or trying to figure out how to protect herself, he realizes it, and then he goes to console her. And even though he's wrong and he's consoling her, he's looking for consoling himself when she gives it back, because she's happy that he's consoled him, kind of energy, if that makes sense. Moving back into the degrees aspect, 0 being the degree at when the Cancer moon and the sun and eclipse hits the sky. It'll actually look like, when you look at this solar eclipse carefully, you will look at it'll look like a ring. It'll look like the 0 in front of the moon blocking the sun, right? To the eye, it'll look like that next Sunday. This is like a ring of chaos. Like the sun and the moon are consoling each other. Just like in the example I gave of domestic violence. 0 degrees in Cancer can bring not quite the nurturing mother moon, but it can bring like the dark queen moon energy. She's coming straight out the water, like the Black Lagoon or whatever they call it. Dark is fear. Dark can be chaotic, and emotions can arise. An interesting thing is the number 2 represents woman, and the number 0 represents spirit. So here we are, 2020, with the women in spirit year. The dark, chaotic, emotional, fearful year. And everyone will want that cooling, watery cool off from this dark year. That cooling feminine energy on top of the feminine energy that has been brought in to console us. Dark doesn't always mean negative. It just means that you're fearful of what is in the light, what is coming next, what is coming new. Everyone will want to restore and heal, but on the surface it will look bad. So while we are healing and while things are happening, it does look bad. It does look bad what's going on right now in 2020. But it may even appear evil. It will definitely appear evil. Example, all the planets being retro for a reason, and if we don't take notice of it, then it'll appear evil. And if we don't take action on it, it will appear emotional and fearful. Everything will thereof. So again, dark energy looks bad, but it is not something to fear. Again, the Neptune feminine energy coming from Neptune being in Pisces is creating dark illusions. And it is your awakening and your responsibility to figure out if this is an illusion or if this is something that you really need to grow into and open up your spirituality about. When masculine energy is in the light, it falls to the earth and becomes fearful and can't take care of itself sometimes, and it becomes dark and evil. The woman is not evil, she's just dark. The feminine energy is not evil, it's just dark, meaning it can appear wrong, it can appear evil, it can appear weird, like some of you all think I am. But the feminine energy is just trying to push you through a tough, emotional, earthy, grounded, deep, water-filled life lesson type of energy, type of manner. And I hope I communicated that to you all well. I am a Scorpio, which is a water sign, but technically Scorpio is the least emotional the way the other two signs, Cancer and Pisces, are. Scorpios are closer to fire signs. That's why I call Scorpios boiling water, because we have that masculine energy, that tough energy in us. But we also have that nurturing, emotional, wanting to help, wanting to be loyal, wanting to be consoling energy as well. That is why we are ruled by Mars like Aries is, because we definitely have masculine energy, but Pluto, Scorpio energy is feminine. All right, Uranus being in Taurus, and let me not go off on this too long because this is off topic, but Uranus being in Taurus, the energy is still changing your fixed emotion. So Taurus is a fixed sign, is the opposite of Scorpio. Uranus is the planet of surprise. The reason you need to go internally with all this feminine energy is because if you focus on outside energy, that's the true darkness. That's where the true darkness is. That brings on the fear. When you pay attention to what's going on the outside instead of paying attention to what's going on the inside, paying attention to yourself. When you pay attention to everybody else is tripping out, you can't pay attention to why you yourself is tripping out. This makes me notice how important the North Node is, being in Gemini for the duality, having both masculine and feminine energies, and being able to flip itself during this solar eclipse and moon, during the sun moving into this feminine energy and the moon moving into this feminine energy. It's able to, I had to pull this in my hand because the sun is telling me to come outside and take this energy. All right, so I'm pretty much at the end. Again, the eclipse will create the flip-flop of energy in the North Node being in duality of both feminine and masculine energy. And going back to Uranus, Uranus will be the only stable energy, the Taurus energy right now, and it is not a stable planet, being the planet of surprise. But when you're talking about the masculine and feminine energy and all the planets, a lot of the planets are on fire right now from the masculine energy, looking for water to cool off. And that is the same energy we are getting from above, so below. There's a lot of masculine energy being put at us, and people are tired of it, and they want a way to cool off, to chill out, to humble up, like feminine energy. Me, I'm a big masculine energy fan. I love to rah, 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 but it definitely feels good to cool off and pay attention and be aware and to nurture myself and to cool myself down. And I think everybody could use that in their life. Thank you for watching episode 8 of Addicted to Astrology. I am TMZ, teaching everyone abundantly, empowering many, Zakia, enlightening every day. It is June 14th. I'm just going to throw this at us because we're all practicing how to treat each other better. Happy birthday to our POTUS. Y'all have a wonderful week. I will see you on Wednesday. Not sure which avenue I'm going down on Wednesday because there's so much. I might even come back Monday, tomorrow, or Tuesday with something else I've been studying as far as the houses. So y'all stay tuned. If not, I will see you on Mercury Wednesday, Communication Day. Wednesday is actually the start of Mercury Retrograde. So maybe I'll have more information on that. Let's just see how things go. Be easy, take things slow, rethink, reassess, remind, cool down, feminine energy, be aware, stay woke.